Welcome to Widowed Too Soon, where real-life widows and widowers come together to share their stories of survival, faith, and the journey of finding hope in the darkest of times. Whether you're newly widowed or have been on this journey for some time, each week we're here to provide you with inspiration, practical advice, and the reassurance that you are not alone. You were made to not only survive, but thrive. And now here's your host, a woman who has walked this path herself, who finds solace in writing, joy in speaking, and freedom in dancing like nobody's watching. Michelle Bader Ebersole.
Welcome to Widowed Too Soon. This is Michelle Bader Ebersole. I am coming at you today by myself. I am doing a solo episode. I absolutely am loving the guest episodes, as I know you are, but I still want to come to you probably about once a month and just share a message that God's put on my heart and kind of give you an update and all that stuff. And I have a really great message I'm excited to share with you. But first, I'm going to tell you about some things that have been going on. So I just got back from a widow's retreat that I was helping to lead in Guffey, Colorado. It was absolutely amazing. There were 11 of us. So last year we had around 20, which was great. But having only 11, you really get to know people really well. And it was such a special time. We did ATVs, horseback riding. We had some great content sessions, worship, just a lot of time out in nature. We did sunset with horses and just such a healing time. And I'm going to share with you part of a message that I shared with them, and it really seemed to be pretty powerful. And so I thought I would come on and share it here. I know the common question I get is, when is the next retreat? And at this point, we have no plans. So I will let you know if another one comes about. This one came about kind of suddenly. You know, we did one last year in my local area. And then this one just happened a couple months ago that I connected with a good friend, Kate Kelly Sladeback, who's actually been on the podcast before. We connected and found out she had this retreat center, and we decided to partner together and do this retreat. And it was absolutely amazing with the help of Stacey Campbell Waits, which you heard her. I think she's been on 3 times. And then also Rebecca Busa, which I'm hoping to have on pretty soon. So it was a great group of women. Shout out to everybody who came. One of the girls, Angie from Instagram, like saw my Instagram post and was so brave and decided to come by herself, not knowing anybody. I think there was another girl who didn't know anybody. Some of us knew each other from last week. Some were podcast listeners, from last year. And it was just such a special time. Like I don't know about you, but if you've ever been in a room full of widows or widowers, for me specifically as a woman, it's widows. And there's like this instant connection. Like, oh my goodness, you get it. Although we all have different stories, we have a similar feeling. We know what it's like to lose a spouse and all the things that come along with that. And I just really, really enjoyed just that, like one-on-one time, 2-on-1, 3-on-1, like getting to know everybody. Oh my gosh, it was so fun. There were like 6 of us on ATVs, and we had to wear like these bandanas and the things, and we're like widow gang, and it was very funny. You had to be there, I guess. And then some of the people were in the UTV, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful special time, and I feel so blessed. And we will see what God has in store for the future. One of the things I'm really excited about that came about is that we are going to be launching Widow Goals groups. So as you may or may not know, Widow Goals is the nonprofit that I started a couple years ago that this podcast is actually under the umbrella of. And we have a local group in my Vancouver, Portland area called Widow Goals Vancouver area. And through the process of the retreat, was able to find 6 other people that want to launch groups, all different parts of the US. So keep listening for where those are going to be. As soon as they get some things done on their Facebook pages, I'll be launching those. But there's going to be one in, let me just tell you a few: California, Iowa, Montana, Texas, Eastern Washington, and Missouri, off the top of my head. So be listening if you live in those states for specifics coming on that. And if it goes well, they're my test groups. If it goes well for the rest of the year, in January 25, we will be launching groups all over the US, possibly all over the world. I don't even know. And you'll have a chance to apply to be a Widow Goals group leader. And you'll get all the directions on, like, okay, how do I start a group? What do I do with this? What do you do each month? And it's going to be amazing. So, super excited to tell you about that. And yeah, things are going pretty good with my family. Haley's home again from college. It's homecoming football game and all that with her high school she went to. So she came home hanging out with friends. Hayden's at a University of Oregon Duck game, just like his dad. And Peyton, he's got his driver's license now, and he drove to a Bible study this morning. And Joel's working on a plane, so I had some time this morning to do this podcast by myself, and I'm just really excited. It's been a shift, like having these solo episodes, but I found that I'm actually able to be like super open when it's just me and the screen. Like there's nobody else here. And I feel like God is really able to speak clearly through me. And so I want to keep doing these episodes at least once a month where I can just share what God's put on my heart. So yeah, that's some of the things going on. We are full on into fall, but it's still wonderful weather. One of my good friends, shout out to Christy. I know she's a podcast listener. She was widowed about a year ago, and tomorrow is her wedding. So I'm super excited to go to her wedding and celebrate her love. And everyone's timing is different. Some people get married right away. Some people it takes a long time. Some people don't ever want to. Everyone's timing is different. And I'm just excited to go and celebrate with her. And Cheryl, if you're listening, shout out to another podcast listener, Cheryl Smith, who is getting married in May. And I am so privileged and honored. This is the craziest story. So Cheryl and I met on TikTok originally. And then from TikTok, I think she became a podcast listener, and then she took grief recovery. She was my first online grief recovery person. And then from there, we stayed really good friends. And I've been with her through her whole dating process and all of that. And she asked me to be a bridesmaid in her wedding. And so I am so honored and privileged to get to be a bridesmaid in her wedding. And it just means the world to me because we've never met in person. The first time we meet in person is when I'm going to be in her wedding. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. And something that was really, really cool at the retreat. Sometimes I wonder when it's just me and the screen, is this making a difference? Like, does what I do matter? And the girls wrote me letters, and it was so special. I actually came home and read them with Joel, and he said, I want you to hang these up on your wall when you're feeling discouraged. I want you to read them. And they were powerful, powerful, powerful. And so just thank you for those who have reached out and given me words of encouragement. It really means a lot because I've been doing this 3.5 years now on my own. And it is podcasting is kind of a lonely world sometimes when you aren't interviewing people because you're literally sitting talking to no one and praying it gets out to people. But I know it's gotten out to so many of you all around the world. So I'm just so thankful and honored to be in this place to continue the podcast and to, as you guys know, kind of shift gears with doing mostly interviews. But anyways, that's a little of it, what's been going on with me. But what I really want to share with you is a message I shared at the retreat, and it's called Surviving the Deep Waters. So the theme of our retreat was Isaiah 43:2. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze. Like, that's powerful. God doesn't say we're not going to go through the fire and the water, but he says that we won't be totally consumed by it. Now, if you're listening, you've probably been in the deep water. You've probably been where you feel like you're being burned, but God is pulling you through. He never lets you drown over what you can take. And so what I did, and I can't do it because we're not in person, but I just want you to imagine that I'm giving you a name tag right now. Okay. And this name tag either says wife or husband, depending male or female. And I'm asking you to write the date of your wedding on it. This is what I did with all of them when they came in the room. I had mine on from my wedding with Luke. And I'm like, this was your identity, wife, right? Well, then I had all of their dates written out, and I had another name tag, and I shared with them, this is the day that you became widowed, and I would say their name. And I'm so sorry for your loss. So I'm going to say that to you, listener. On this date, you became widowed, and I am so sorry for your loss. And what happened in that room was God, totally. Because as I would give out the tags, I would hug them, which is a big step for me. Maybe you don't know that, but hugging's not my favorite thing unless it's Joel. Um, and then they would just weep in my arms. And it reminded me of when I was at my grief retreat right after Luke died, and just that heartache and that sorrow. And then I was like, I feel like we're feeling each other's pain. Like, I feel like we actually get each other. Like, these tears are saying, I wish I would have been there for you on that day. And I'm saying that to you, listener. I wish I would have been there for you on that day, because I know what a hard, hard day it is. And we'll get back to the identity piece in just a minute. But the next part I wanted to share with you is I actually read journal entries from when Luke was sick, and it brought me back, and a lot of them related to it. So I'm actually going to read some of these. So, long story short, he was diagnosed with cancer when we first got married, had his leg amputated. The cancer was gone for 13 years, and then it came back, and he lived for like 3 more years. So these journal entries are in that time period when he was sick. So this is when I felt like I was going to drown. Monday, December 18th, 2017. Waiting for Luke as he's getting a PET scan, praying the scan shows the tumor has shrunk. Miracles. That's what I'm holding on to. I mean, what else do I have? Without hope, I think I would curl up in a ball and die. The future's so big, so unknown, so painful. My babies, my poor, sweet, beautiful babies. Jesus, please don't make them suffer. I can handle it, but their sweet little hearts. Trust. That's all I can do. All I can do to survive the moments I feel my heart literally break. God, how are we going to go down this painful road again? What can and are you going to bring from this? What good can come from all this pain and suffering? I don't know. I don't know. I'm standing on the edge of a cliff, not knowing if I will fall or if a bridge will save us and suddenly appear. Which is it? How will this story end? And after reading that, or maybe it was one of the other journal entries, one of the girls said, can I say something? And she said, she's crying as she's saying it. And she's saying, wow, like, it's crazy to hear what you went through and you questioning if God would ever use this, because I don't think I could have survived without you. And that just was like, whoa, these journals from back in 2017 are helping somebody now. It's just crazy. Let's see. Here's another one. Doesn't have the date, but it's around the same time. I think it's 2018. I have complete brokenness, a place that words can't explain and no one can truly understand. God, please help me. I'm so broken, hardly able to lift my head, hardly able to take a step. So much hurt, so much agony. Will the pain ever stop? Will I ever have more joy, more peace? God, I feel like I'm dying inside. I just want the pain to stop. I just want all to be right. Again, I have nothing left. Oh God, please make beauty out of these ashes. Please heal Luke. It's crazy just to see how he has made beauty out of these ashes. He didn't heal Luke here on earth, but he did heal him in heaven. Here's another one. Tuesday, April 24th, 2018. It's a beautiful day. I'm at Kaiser Interstate sitting outside while I actually remember this very clearly. While Luke gets his PET scan, it's been rough. Luke was sick and throwing up and in so much pain, crying in agony. Why? Why isn't he in so much pain? Started a conversation with us that I need to be realistic and accept that this is probably going to happen. No, I am praying for a miracle and I know one can happen. Please, Jesus, don't end it like this. Don't do this to my babies. I can handle it, but not them. I beg of you, heal my husband here on earth. Make him whole, please. Tears falling, heart literally breaking, please. Oh, please hear my cries. God, please heal him. Make him whole. I know you can change your plans. Please, God, I want this more than anything in the world. Please, I don't want my baby's heart to break. Please. Luke says he isn't doing any more chemo and he knows he's worse than the chemo. Oh God, what are we going to do? Will I become a widow? Can't you hear me? Can't you see my tears? Don't you weep with me? Aren't you collecting my many tears in a bottle? It must be a big bottle because I am crying more tears than I have ever, and there will be more. Show me your favor. Show me your love. Show me your grace. Be here. Make a miracle. I know you can. Please, 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 please. You have the power and the capability. So please, Jesus, heal my love, my husband of almost 15 years. I want to grow old with him. I want to have grandkids with him. I want him at our kids' graduations and weddings. Don't you want that for us? Why so much pain, both physical for Luke and emotional for all of us? Why? It's not right. Why have you chosen me for this? I'm not good enough for this assignment, not qualified to possibly have to walk my babies through death. I am so weary, and there is no one who gets what this path is like. I'm walking through. Jesus, help me. Just hold me. Take me through this impossible looking storm. Make a way. Perform a miracle. I know you have a plan, but why does it have to hurt so much? Why does it have to be a silent, solitude place all alone in the desert? Whew, these journal entries, they take me back because I can remember what that felt like. I can remember feeling alone in the desert. And I can remember just the absolute agony and, and though God did not answer how I wanted, he has done amazing things, right? Like this podcast would not be happening if he had answered my prayers in the way that I had wanted. It was just crazy. Okay, I got some more. I think this is around the same time. I am thankful you will never leave me or forsake me. You are drawing me closer, and I know you will make beauty out of all these many ashes that I see in all directions as I wade through the smoke, fire, and ash. My eyes are covered by ash all around. I cannot see what you are doing. I cannot see where you are leading me, but as I hold tightly to your hand, as you're leading me wherever you are taking me deeper still into the unknown, I find comfort that in my darkest, you are leading me. Your strong but kind hand lovingly leads me every blind step at a time. And that is definitely how I felt. And that might be like where you're at right now. Like you're just feeling so lost, but I promise you, even if you can't see, Jesus is there. He's holding your hand. He's rooting for you. He's helping you. Here's another one. 2 nights ago, I couldn't sleep as I was thinking about how if my baby, my Peyton, was crying out in pain and I could stop it, I would. So how in the world does God see Luke crying and not take away his pain? Then I dreamed I was dying. I know it's coming. I hate it. It's anticipatory grief. It's like a train heading straight towards you and bracing for impact. You know it's going to hurt so bad, but you still have to try to live in today, forgetting the train is coming. It's a hard place to be. The pain part really sucks, and the kids see it too. It's such a strange place to be. It's like my future life is on pause, trying to stay in the here and the now, but I know the future is coming. All thoughts of the future are marked by will he still be here? When I picked up his disabled parking pass last week and saw it expires. I lost the page, but I go on to say that it expires, and I'm wondering who's going to expire first, him or the parking pass. So you might be in this place right now, and I'm here to tell you that Jesus can and will walk you through this. You might be feeling that maybe your spouse just died and you're just feeling the pain of this for you. It's been years, but you're still feeling the pain. Here's another one. Let fear and uncertainty stay in the future and let me and my family live in what we have today. For we cannot control what tomorrow may bring, but we can control what we do with today. People say today is a gift, but do they really understand the depths of what it means? Are they staring death in the face? We do not understand what we do not know. I know that I have today. And time and priceless memories. Wow. Yesterday I could tell something was off. Death is starting to take over. He seemed distant and almost confused. I don't know how to put it into words, but a visual sign of what is happening inside of him. It's sad when he's confused, and well, the whole thing is heart-wrenching. watching the man you love, gave your whole life to, deteriorate and break down in front of your eyes is a new level of pain. It can't be described. He's getting worse and fast. So this is in 2020, right before he died. He told me, okay, I don't know where that goes. Let's see. Here's a big one. Yesterday, I wanted to die. Have you guys felt that before? Not really, but the future is so overwhelming. When will the exhaustion end? It's a lot. It's a lot. Anyways, that's just a little piece of my journals, and I share those in the group just to share like where I've been and where God has taken me. And God has taken me through some deep, deep waters, like really deep. There were deep, dark times when Luke was sick, and I literally didn't think I could do it. I just had this memory. I remember like driving in the car by myself, screaming at the top of my lungs when it was like we knew death was coming sooner and all the stuff. And just screaming like, God, I can't do this. I can't do this. But guess what? I can't, but he can, and he helped me through it. And whatever you're going through, the depths of the pain, like God is going to help you. These journals are proof. They're proof. That was me. And then you guys know me now. And I still have grief days. I still miss Luke. But the joy of the Lord is my strength. And I would say most days are pretty joyful. And it's not because of Joel. My joy came before Joel. He is an added bonus. And he is a bonus, let me tell you that. But I had already found joy before God brought Joel into my life. And so it's not about a man. It's about Jesus. It's about the peace that passes all understanding that cannot be explained in earthly terms. That's why it's called a peace that passes all understanding. Like we can't understand it. So going back to a little bit more of the talk. So then the third name tag, I gave them another name tag and I said, but widow is not your identity, and it was like blank and it just said the date. And I said, I want you to take some time praying about who God says you are. What name is God giving you today? And it was absolutely beautiful. We spent about 5 minutes, I don't know, maybe more, listening to a song and praying. And it was beautiful. We then went around the room and just said what our words were. And I felt like God was giving me the words trusted servant. And there were beautiful ones like beloved and my love. And I think there was like cherished and just like beautiful words. Cause I was like, widow does not define you. And you know what? I want to challenge you guys. Do the same thing. Get in a quiet space and pray and say, God, who do you say I am? And I showed this really beautiful video. I'll try to link it in the show notes. And it was about who am I? Like, who do you say I am? And I'm going to find it because I told them I haven't even given that to them. I need to give it to them. It was like really, really beautiful. I'm going to actually see if I can find it while I'm talking to you. Okay, got it. Here it is. I found it. We'll just listen to a little bit. It's beautiful.
You are beautiful. You are smart. You are funny. You are kind. You are unique. You are always enough. You are precious. You are a diamond, a rose, a pearl, the most stunning of all God's creation. You are worth more than you could ever imagine.
Anyways, I'll link that. It's super beautiful. And I remember after Luke died, listening to that over and over. And it was just, really beautiful. So that's a little bit about what we did at the retreat. And it's hard to put it into words, but it was absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to encourage you guys to do the same thing. Just take a few moments, ask God to show, like put on some music, some like instrumental worship music, and ask God to show you who you are. And that's mostly what I wanted to share with you today, is just that widow doesn't have to be your identity. I remember I was like, I don't even like that term. Makes me think of an old lady with a gray bun with cats all over her. That's what I thought a widow was before I became one, right? And so I know some people don't even want to use the term, and that's okay. It's up to you. Now I've embraced it and I'm fine with it, but that doesn't define who we are. So I felt like I was just like the cancer wife for a long, long time. That was my identity, right? When it was like, oh, your husband has cancer. And I felt like that's all people wanted to talk about. And then it was like, oh, you're the widow, your husband died. And that's all people want to talk about. Or not, right? They avoid the subject too. But, it just, God can give you so much more of an identity. So pray and ask Him, who do you say I am? And just listen. And I know it's so hard today to just like listen sometimes and, in society to just be still and all of that stuff. But I want to challenge you to do that. Yeah, I don't really have much more to share than that today. We'll be back with some more great interviews the next 3 weeks after this. And if you want to be a guest, I'm always looking for more guests. You have a story to tell. If you're listening, you have a story to tell. I don't care if you're a couple months out, a year out, 5 years out, 10 years out. You have a story to tell, and I'd love to hear it. So there's a link in the show notes that says apply to be a guest on Widow Too Soon. And you just click it and fill it out, and then I will reach out to you. It's that simple. And then we record on a platform called Riverside, which is kind of like Zoom. So if you're familiar with Zoom, you can definitely do it. It's pretty easy. I give you directions, and then we just talk. We just have a conversation, and it's healing, to get our emotions out and to just get them out and talk about them and share our stories. Like, what's hidden in the darkness can't be used. So God wants us to bring our stories to the light, right? Like, this is not what you chose, but it happened. So why not talk about it and help other people? My story can't touch the same people that your story can, because we have different stories. And so there might be someone out there just waiting to hear from you. And your words could be what makes the difference of them feeling like they can survive. And so I just want to challenge you to think about being a guest on Widow Too Soon. If you haven't joined the Widow Too Soon community, please do that. We have almost 1,000 members now. And we've been kicking out the scammers lately, let me tell you. So, if a guy is like a doctor or like a weightlifter or, these suave pictures of these like graying men, like they're usually fake. So I found some ways, a couple different websites to um like you upload their photos and it tells you where else it's on the internet. And we kicked out 3 guys in one night because they were all fake. And then I just had another one today who he was on like 200 websites. So I knew it wasn't real. So just know we are working hard. Thank you, Angela Heights, for becoming an admin. She has accepted the admin role and she's helping me to keep it safe and keep out the scammers. Like, just crazy how many scammers are out there. So beware. If it sounds too good to be true, probably is. A lot of them, they sounded like they had like AI generated words. So we were kind of like leery. If you see anything, please let Angela know, because we want to make it a safe community. Just send us a message on Facebook with like a screenshot of the person. And I can't remember the name of somebody caught somebody saying I love you, like it was really scammy, like, oh, I love you, like a guy, and he was a doctor or something. So he got kicked out and banned real quick. We're doing our best to keep it a safe community, but I also don't want to be too strict. There's been some widow groups where you have to like show the death certificate or obituary, and I don't want to be that strict. So somewhere in between, where we are not letting the scammers in, but we're not making it so crazy that you have to, like, I feel like that's triggering and traumatic. Anyways, I appreciate each one of you. I'm excited about the future of this podcast, the future of these widow goals groups popping up all over the world potentially. It's crazy to me how this podcast reaches all over the world. I had a chance to talk like 3 or 4 days ago with a woman from South Africa. We talked and we met through the podcast, and it just like amazes me. There's I talked to one in Ireland, one in Egypt, and then of course all across the US. And that's another thing I haven't really talked about, but my passion definitely is for this. If you let me tell you real quick about grief recovery. So, grief recovery is a program that I got certified in a couple years ago, and it is a one-on-one program. I do groups too, but mostly one-on-one. It's my favorite. It's a 7-week program that I take you through, and basically, it's going to help with healing from your grief. And so it's like this: when you're born, you get a backpack, right? And the backpack is filled with rock. Like every time you have a new loss in your life, it's a rock. Anything. It could be moving, it could be a pet dies, it could be whatever. And then your spouse dies. And it's like a boulder, right? A boulder is put in your backpack and you can't move anymore. So, what we do in grief recovery is we actually unload those and we unpack them, and you actually graph your entire life. Like every loss you've had in your entire life. It's pretty crazy when you see it written out. And then from there, we pick your biggest loss. And then we go through that whole relationship, the good and the bad, all of it. And we talk about it. And then we end with a letter. And it's powerful. I've taken over 40 women, not women, men too, 40 people through this. I'll put a link in the show notes where you can go to the page and read all the testimonials on how it's helped everyone. If you're interested, please send me an email, michelle@widowgoals.com. or .org, or you can send me a message on Facebook or wherever, and we can talk further about how this would work for you. There is a cost, but the best part is we do have scholarships for widows thanks to Widow Goals, the nonprofit. So I don't ever want cost to be a reason that somebody doesn't go through this program, but it's powerful. The most common thing that I get from people is like, I feel like a weight's been lifted off. And that's what I want for you. So anyways, little plug for grief recovery. Love to have you as part of that. So I love you all. I appreciate you. Thank you for listening. This is episode 147. Nuts. That's crazy. That's so crazy. 3.5 years, 147 episodes. 80 some countries. I'm so thankful to be here. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Widowed Too Soon with Michelle Bader Ebersole. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, rate and review. And we'd also love for you to join our Widowed Too Soon community on Facebook. See you next time.